mother because I loved her. I loved her with every fiber of my being.
You say that in the present tense?
Yes.
Hi. Today we will continue the story of Ella Bennett.
I killed somebody.
You think you killed somebody?
No, I know I did. I feel so messed up.
Is she breathing right now?
No.
Is she bleeding anywhere?
Yes.
Where'd you stab her?
Lots of places. I woke up and I was hallucinating.
You were hallucinating?
Yes. Yes. And I thought my sister was a demon and I killed her.
I want you to start CPR, okay?
I didn't show you this part at first to shock you with the fact that the 13-year-old child was the perpetrator of this heinous crime. What happened is that Charity's mother went to work as usual and left the children with a babysitter, but after 10 at night, Paris managed to convince the babysitter to go home. It is not known what he said to convince her, but it is known that he was smarter than her. Paris claimed that he fell asleep afterward, then woke up and began to hallucinate, seeing his sister as a devil. So he brutally beat her, then strangled her, then assaulted her, and then stabbed her 17 slow times. He then took the phone and made a regular 6-minute call to a friend before calling the police. When the police arrived, they discovered that Paris had not performed any first aid at all, yet in the call he claimed he had administered first aid. The police say that Paris did not shed a single tear. All the screaming and breakdown in the call was nothing but an act. The police also discovered Paris's search history, which was about methods of killing and torture, and his excuse was also hallucinations. When the police uncovered the crime, they went to the mother's workplace and informed her that Ella had been slightly harmed. She never expected that the innocent child had died in such a horrific manner, and not only that, but her killer was her own child. The police arrested Paris, and after 24 hours, they allowed his mother to see him, and it was the strangest meeting. When Charity saw Paris, she hugged him tightly, but Paris did not hug her back. Instead, he kept his hands down. Then he looked at his mother and smiled faintly, saying, "Do you remember when you said, 'Nothing can make me a killer except if someone harms one of my children'? Here I am, having killed your child brutally, so what will you do to me?" During the interrogation with Paris, he was very cold and calm. Sometimes he admitted that he had assaulted his sister, and sometimes he denied it. The police decided to refer him to a psychiatrist, and the result was that he was a first-degree narcissist, a psychopath with a fixation on killing. However, his mother, Charity, had previously reviewed him, and they said he was recovering, so what happened? The police discovered that he indeed had a file in the mental health facility, and it was noted in his file that he was mentally ill. But Charity said, "No one told me that, so was Charity lying?" Paris says, "I thought about killing since I was 8 years old, and when I killed Ella. I wasn't targeting her personally, but I wanted to burn my mother's heart because of her addiction. Indeed, she lived her worst days, as she was the mother of the killer, the mother of the victim, the daughter of the killer, and the daughter of the victim at the same time." In court, Charity was confused about whether to sit on the right or left with the killer or the victim, so she took her chair and sat in the middle, unable to defend Paris while at the same time not wishing for his death. In all his interviews with her, he tried to provoke her, either by explaining how the crime was committed, saying, "I slowly inserted the knife until it pierced her body, then slowly pulled it out to torture her," or by yelling at her and flipping the table. On one occasion, he choked her and tried to kill her, and he didn't let her go until the guards intervened. After this incident, the police began to isolate the mother and Paris during her visits, placing her in one room and Paris in another. Despite all this, Charity continues to visit him. He still hurts her with his words, looks at her with his terrifying gaze, and tells her, "When I get out, I will kill you just like I killed Ella." The thing the police want to confirm is crucial for the verdict. Was he really hallucinating and seeing his sister as a devil, or was it just a lie? Before the tests were conducted, Charity told the police that Paris was lying. and she knows his looks when he lies. Indeed, after the tests were conducted, they discovered it was just a lie. In August 2007, the court decided to sentence Paris to 40 years in prison, which was considered one of the strongest sentences for a child. Paris's aggressive behavior did not end with prison. He also beat other inmates and drew his violent drawings on the walls. Over all these years, he has not regretted it and has not shed a single tear for his poor sister. Recently, they conducted an interview with Paris, and the host was not allowed to enter. Instead, a barrier was placed between them because he is considered a dangerous person.
What happened after the emergency services turned up at the house?
I remember that a male officer walking past me and into the bedroom, and I remember hearing him.
During Paris's imprisonment, Charity entered into an illicit relationship and became pregnant with her third child, Phoenix, who had heart problems, and when Paris learned of this, he cried. Yes, he cried for a brother he never lived with and never saw, yet not a single tear fell for the sister he killed with his own hands. Charity went through the hardest experience and could not forget the image of that innocent angel who suffered and died without guilt. Charity decided to open an organization named Ella to raise awareness about violence and the mental illnesses that children like her son Paris suffer from. She said, "I know this organization will not bring back my daughter Ella, nor will it change Paris, but it might change a child for someone else."